In the Outsider series, in Eastern Europe, in the country of Markovia, the Outsiders would gather to give a funeral to their fallen comrade Looker, who was cut down by the vampire Prince Roderick days earlier. But as Geoforce tells the group her body will be sent to Gotham City, a group of Markovian security forces bust in to break up the party. The Outsiders find themselves surrounded by a group of heavily armed men that believe them to be guilty of killing the Queen, all a setup by Prince Roderick. As the soldiers try to spray the Outsiders, Katana uses her blade to deflect the bullets, while Geoforce tells them not to harm the soldiers as they believe they're just doing their duty. Halo uses her stasis aura to incapacitate several soldiers. Technocrat dons a force field to provide Faust some cover in order for him to blow a strange dust on the soldiers that incapacitates them. But as Geoforce is beating the shit out of the soldiers, he tells Wild not to hurt him, and Wild says he won't, but as Wild is hit by a stray bullet, he goes into a blind rage and starts killing several soldiers. Now Geoforce is like, oh shit, as Wild is tearing apart several men, but as Geoforce uses his gravity manipulation to suspend Wild in the air, Technocrat goes to Wild to try to talk some sense into him. Wild comes back to his human self as he used to be man, but sometimes the beast takes over. Technocrat tells Wild that the man has to stay in control, but as Wild says that's no problem, he starts licking the blood from his claws, and then he gasps as he comes to the realization that he's starting to become a beast. Now Technocrat grabs Faust all pissed off, as when Charlie was dying, Faust merged his body with a bear in order to save his life. But as Faust tells him if he separates them, they'll both die, there's a huge explosion as the Outsiders are confronted by a huge tank. Now Geoforce flies through the hole in the wall, bending the barrel of the tank up, giving the Outsiders a chance to retreat without harming anybody. But as the Outsiders are looking for somewhere to stay, they retreat to Jeffrey Barron, aka Technocrat's Swiss summer home. Technocrat calls his wife Marissa to let her know that they're safe for the time being, but they're going to hold out at the summer home. Now this ultimately turns out to be a mistake, as his darling wife Marissa has paid somebody to find them and kill them. Meanwhile, back in the counselor chambers in Markovia, two citizens go to the councilman as they saw Prince Brian being attacked by vampires and he was simply defending himself. But as they tell the council that the charges against Prince Brian are false, they're invited to the back room for further inquiry. But as they make their way to the back room, they're confronted by Prince Roderick, and you hear screams emanating from the back room. But as Prince Roderick continues to give orders to the Royal Council, a mysterious woman spies from the shadows. But elsewhere, as Grail Gardner is in his laboratory working on his atomic night suit, he hears news of the Outsiders' alleged murders on TV, and he plans to get to the bottom of things himself. Meanwhile, as the Outsiders finally arrive at Technocrat's Swiss summer home, Technocrat goes to the front door to punch in the code, but as Technocrat proceeds to punch in the code, all the Outsiders are gassed and subsequently incapacitated. The Outsiders are then confronted by the cybernetic bounty hunter known as Sanction, who has been paid to kill the Outsiders. But as the Outsiders are incapacitated in the gas, Sanction grabs Technocrat by the head and drags him into the house and ties him to the bed. But what Sanction doesn't realize is Faust is already using his magic to disperse the gas. Sanction tells Technocrat that his wife is the one that paid to have them killed. But as Sanction is about to finish off Technocrat, Geoforce busts through the wall and knocks Sanction through the building. But as Geoforce is in the street beating the shit out of the Metal Man, Sanction sprays him with an accelerated ion beam gun. Geoforce gets put down, but before Sanction can finish him off, Katana charges and impales the cybernetic mercenary in the back. Unfortunately, this doesn't stop Sanction as he backhands the shit out of Katana. Halo attempts to use her stasis aura to incapacitate Sanction, but it doesn't work as he blows right through her with that accelerated beam gun. Luckily, Halo is okay as she retaliates with her aura repulsory. But Sanction is not done as he sprays Halo with more gas and then attempts to spray Technocrat with his beam gun. Technocrat attempts to shock Sanction, but unfortunately it doesn't work as Sanction is insulated against electricity. Wild charges Sanction and attempts to take claws to the metal mercenary, but unfortunately, it doesn't work, as Wild is gassed and put down. But as Sanction seems to have the upper hand, Technocrat tells him to keep on praying as he attempts to shock him again, but this time he uses the sword Katana impaled him with to conduct his electricity. Now, this ends up working as it shocks right through him and ends up making him implode from the inside and blows his armor off his body, as apparently all his armor was grafted on, and Sanction is actually an amputee. But as the outsiders plan their next move, their victory may be short lived, as the Eradicator is on their heels, and the Eradicator has heard of their crimes and plans to send them all to the grave. To be continued.